All right, let's jump right in. We're about to explore one of the biggest, most fascinating mysteries in all of science. And right at the heart of it all is a name I'm sure you know, Nikola Tesla. But we're not just talking about his brilliant inventions today. We're talking about his lost secret, a theory that might have changed, well, everything. And you really have to get what Tesla was saying here. See, for him, a unified theory wasn't just some neat and tidy final equation to put a bow on physics. No way. He saw it as a total revolution in how we perceive reality itself, a fundamentally new way of looking at the entire universe. In this vision he had, it wasn't just some abstract thought experiment. It was directly connected to his most legendary, almost mythical claim, the idea that he could give limitless, free energy to every single person on Earth, wirelessly. For Tesla, this wasn't about a better gadget. He believed he had found a way to tap into the universal foundation of energy itself, a principle that, well, modern physics just never really knew what to do with. So let's fast forward from Tesla's incredible dream to right now, because we're about to look at what is, without a doubt, the single greatest challenge in modern science, the very same problem that Tesla was so obsessed with solving. Okay, so modern physics tells us that pretty much everything that happens in the universe is run by four fundamental forces. You've got gravity, electromagnetism, and then the two nuclear forces, the strong and the weak. And we've gotten insanely good at describing each one of them by itself, with just mind-blowing accuracy. But there's a problem. And that problem is finding what you could call the holy grail of physics, a unified theory. The whole point is to find one single framework, one single story that shows how these four forces that seem so different are actually just different expressions, different ripples of one single underlying reality. And here's the thing. After a century of mind-bending progress, we've got quantum mechanics, relativity, all these amazing discoveries, we still haven't found it. It's like we can describe every single piece of the puzzle perfectly, but we have absolutely no clue how they all connect. It is the biggest loose thread in all of science. So to figure out why, we've got to go back in time. We're heading to the early 20th century, because physics was at this huge fork in the road. There were two different paths to take, and the choice that was made back then basically set the entire course for the next 100 years of science. And this is exactly where things split. On one path, you had mainstream physics, which just charged full steam ahead into this world of pure, super abstract math. And look, it worked, but it got further and further away from anything you could call tangible reality. And on the other path, you had Tesla's vision. He wasn't just looking for the math, he was searching for a physical, universal foundation that all the forces and all the math were built on top of. So this leads to a really interesting question, right? Is the reason we haven't found a unified theory just because the problem is unbelievably hard? Or could it be that we made a wrong turn? Or maybe just an incomplete one all those decades ago? You see, Tesla had an answer. He had a concept that was the absolute core of his entire view of the universe. But it's an idea that modern physics chose to leave behind. Now, at the time, they had what seemed like good reasons. You had famous experiments like the Michelson-Morley experiment that failed to find it, and Einstein's brand new theories of relativity worked perfectly fine without it. So science just moved on. He called it the ether. And it's so important to understand this was not the old debunked idea of some weird invisible substance that light waves traveled through. For Tesla, the ether was the very fabric of existence itself. It was the fundamental substrate from which literally everything, energy, forces, matter, you name it, actually emerges. In Tesla's mind, the ether was the missing link. It was the common source for everything. If you could understand the ether, you could unify all of nature. He even talked about it in ways that sound shockingly modern today, describing it as something existing beyond our ordinary dimensions, what some people now might even call a fifth dimension. And all of this brings us right to the heart of the matter. What happened because we took that path? What were the real, long-term consequences of that decision to just abandon the idea of a physical ether? Well, this is where we are today. We have these two incredible achievements in science. There's the Standard Model, which beautifully explains 3 of the 4 forces, and then there's general relativity, our amazing theory of gravity. Both of them work perfectly in their own domains, but as you can see, they both lack the exact same thing, a shared foundation. And what's more, they're completely incompatible. Relativity gives us a smooth, flowing universe, while the Standard Model gives us a chaotic, buzzing quantum one. The two theories don't even speak the same language. So what it all boils down to is this. We ended up with these brilliant, perfect mathematical equations to describe the universe, but not a physical explanation for the universe. We've got the how down to a science, but we are still completely in the dark about the fundamental why. We have the equations, but we don't have the bedrock they're supposed to be standing on. Which leads us to our final, and I think most provocative thought. We really have to ask ourselves, did that choice, the choice to abandon the idea of a physical ether, actually help science move forward? Did it really get us any closer to a final theory of everything? Or did it do the exact opposite? Is it possible that that one choice, made over 100 years ago, accidentally buried the very foundation we've been desperately searching for ever since? What if the key to everything wasn't something new we needed to find, but something we simply forgot?